Hey, everybody, welcome to a new episode of the Dork Souls Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Hector Navarro.
And I am your other host, Lisa Wallen. And today we have a very special guest, my wonderful friend, Angelica Trae, a.k.a. AyyTrae. You know her from Twitch and all sorts of content online. We talk about Star Trek, sci-fi, and we deep dive into our biggest fears. And it gets really weird and very interesting. And it's a good episode.
You're not going to want to miss it. You're going to learn some stuff. So be sure to like and subscribe and let us know wherever you're getting your podcast from. Leave us a review because that'd be a really big help. But make sure that you are subscribed on our YouTube channel and enjoy the episode.
Anyways, welcome to a new episode of Dork Souls Podcast. I definitely have my voice here today. How's it going, Hector?
Pretty great. You sound like shit.
Yeah, well, you look
I
like
sound great. What?
Fine. You look fine. Actually,
I look like shit,
Whoa.
and you sound
Great.
like shit.
Your hair is long. It looks fabulous. What was the reason for that? To just show off to everyone else your age that you're not balding yet?
Yeah. Even though somebody left a really mean comment on one of my YouTube channels, and it really got to me because I'm a man with insecurities. Somebody was like, one of my last, and I don't normally, I put a little bit of something in my hair today, but I don't normally, I just kind of leave it and it's really out of control and it gets really curly. And somebody went, Hector, I love you, man. This is a great episode, but I just wanted to comb your hair. It was crazy. Like that kind of like this harmless comment.
I love that.
I just wanted to comb your hair was the harmless comment. And it was kind of like, what's going on, Hector? What are you doing?
I love that that's a mean comment men
That's not the mean comment.
Oh. The
one right below it was somebody going, it's a guy who has a quickly receding hairline and is trying to do everything he can.
Whoa.
Because of the first comment was like, what's going on with your hair, Hector? I just wanted to comb it. It was crazy. Anyway, great episode. And the second person was like, he has a quickly receding hairline. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? I said, man.
It really sucks. That's
really
how that's like being a woman.
That's all men have to deal with. That's it.
I get death threats just for existing.
I got 99 problems, but it's only my hair, whereas women have literally everything else to deal with.
Because we were really bad at introducing our guests. We took 45 minutes. We're just going to introduce a woman onto our guest as our guest today because she'll know what it's like to have mean comments on the internet.
Yeah.
But she is one of my favorite people in the entire world. She's so talented. She's so funny. You've probably seen her eyes on everything because her eyes are very in your face. Let's welcome our guest, the wonderful AyyTrae.
Hi.
AyyTrae, a.k.a. Angelica Trae. Angelica AyyTrae. AyyTrae, Angelica Trae. It's so funny. So Angelica's one of the people where I knew her name was Angelica, but I didn't know it for a very long time. And I just called her AyyTrae. And then one day I was like, Angelica, like it sounded like I was dead naming you almost.
Yeah.
Like it was like
you're doxing me?
Is it okay if I call you that? Like that was how it was.
Yeah. You know what? It's a really long name. It's very Latin based. It kind of feels like you're saying a biblically accurate name. Like it kind of feels a little wrong sometimes.
From Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Versus Trae, which is so casual. I get it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yours is spelled like Trae, which is like Asian.
I guess.
Can I ask a question? Do you ever go with like nicknames or shorter versions? Because I always ask this to people who
Angie?
which totally makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Can I call you Licka?
No.
Nobody does that.
That's how I gauge
Lisa.
enemies or people that don't know me well, is if you call me a nickname.
Ah.
Yeah. So if anyone ever introduces me as like Angela or something.
I'll be like, nope.
Yeah, that person, they don't know her.
They don't know her. I ask because my name doesn't have nicknames. And every time I say that to people, they go, yeah, it does. Heck.
They try.
And I'm like, no, it's not real. It's never going to catch on. But I'm always interested with people who have names where it's like, you have options.
Yeah, I do.
To figure it, right? If you wanted. But then most people, truly, I'm like, I can't tell how many times I met like Stevens that they're like, my name is Steven. And I'm like, do you ever go by Steve? And they're like, no. I'm like, that's fine.
I'm going to call you Teeves.
Teeves?
There you go.
Why?
I knew a guy named Teeves.
Teeves? Oh, for Steven?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about my nickname, Hector.
Yeah, I was like, sounds like a tooth thing.
No.
Yeah,
to me, you're Angelica. And I love it because I don't know any other Angelicas.
It's not that long of a name. It's good.
It's 4 syllables. It's long for
you think?
People. Yeah.
Yeah, for
lazy,
a white girl.
They struggle.
Okay.
For a white girl, yeah. That's a
white girl name should be like Courtney, like a quick like.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually they love the 2 syllables. I've noticed it depends on where you're at too. So if you're in California, most of the time it's fine.
Okay.
You know, like I get Angelica, I get Angelica. And then if you go to
Angelica?
places.
Yeah.
Well, you're like a vampire.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That sounds like a vampire
actually,
name.
yeah, a little bit.
Angelica.
It's just the Spanish pronunciation for
I was
it.
going to say that could also just be your second phase.
Yeah, that is.
Angelica in a boss fight.
Yeah. You don't want to know my third phase. Then.
I really do. I'm curious because like your Hector is funny online because you're so funny. And I'm Lisa Wallen because I'm boring. But what made you go with the AyyTrae? What was the AyyTrae for?
AyyTrae.
Well, specifically, okay, so with AyyTrae, I started that up.
What's the lore?
When I
AyyTrae
lore drop right now. Ready? So when I first started, I was Twitch streaming. I first started just live streaming games because I thought, okay, this is something
by the way,
fun.
Angelica's a streamer. I didn't say that. I did say she was a woman first. So
I
not
am
just a streamer.
Woman's first.
She's the streamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the AyyTrae. Before AyyTrain.
That's true. Actually, I have a story about that too. That was a problem.
The character from The Boys?
Yeah, the character. I was before the character from The Boys, but there was just relentless jokes for like 2 years straight.
Yeah, I bet.
I did AyyTrae because I'm from the Bay Area, California.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, Baytray.
That's cuter. But so in the Bay Area where I grew up, there was this celebratory thing, and I think we've seen it, and it's in other places too, but this is so specific for where I'm from.
Okay.
Where you go, hey, and it's very celebratory. And then when you say it or someone says it and they're really excited, the whole group starts saying it. And it's kind of like this exclamation where you're in it together. And it's just like,
AyyTrae.
Yeah, it gets louder and it's like, hey, like you're just having fun.
Yeah.
And so instead of Angelica, which I couldn't put on Twitch because no one was going to want to say that whole thing. And I think just the name Angelica was taken. So
was it ever also like some people that are on Twitch, they're kind of using their gamer tag or their name that they had, you know, like I created this when it was an AOL username 15 years ago or 20 years ago, or this is what I used to log in with Xbox Live. And now that's my Twitch name. Did you ever have AyyTrae as like this was just for Twitch, brand new?
Cool. I think my gamer tag growing up, I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
I remember mine,
but there was so many references involved. There was like Pokemon.
Oh, mine was just like Asian Rocket Girl.
Oh, what's that referencing?
I don't know. So okay, first mine was the anime Blinker Girl. Because I loved
anime Blinker Girl?
Because I loved Blink-182 and Blinker Girl was taken.
Blinker
so it was anime Blinker Girl.
I thought you were just a big fan of using your car blinker.
Yeah, like hey, safety on the road,
At
everybody.
12 years old, my MSN.com login.
Yeah.
But I had just a bunch of mean guy friends, and in high school they used to call me Ling Ling. I'm only a fourth Asian, but they call me Ling Ling because they're like, well, Lisa loves the anime and video games, so we're calling her Ling Ling. So
yeah, super racist.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
I didn't come up with it. They could call me Lease. They call me Ling Ling.
Yeah,
because of the little character off of this old show called Drawn Together. Do you remember that show?
I remember Drawn Together.
It was so problematic.
Yes, it was.
Do you remember the show?
It was a Comedy Central animated show, and the premise was like, it was like a reality show.
It had a great premise, though.
It's like Big Brother. It's like they're all living in a house, but the joke was like taking different cartoon characters from fictional, but based off of obviously clearly recognizable. Like, here's the Disney princess.
That sounds
and this
so
is
familiar.
like the angular looking superhero that looks like a Bruce Timm, Batman or Superman
character.
Link
character.
And then there's the Pikachu character. There's the Link video game character that, they're all living in a
so
house.
Familiar.
But the Pikachu character's name was Ling Ling because it was racist. Because it was the early 2000s. That was it.
Yeah.
So my friends wanted me to play Halo and I have an Xbox. So they wrote me a gamer tag and it was Asian Rocket Girl.
Oh
Your friends did this to you.
Yeah.
Also horrible.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, guess what? I moved from that city and those friends. So
nice.
It was a life-changing event. Now I'm Lisa Wallen and nobody knows how to say my name. Isn't that great?
Lisa Wallen.
The early 2000s were pretty crazy with
Yeah.
Have you ever went back and rewatched old
Yeah, it's awful. It's horrible.
like Super Jail. Do you remember Super Jail?
God, no.
Super Jail?
You know what I will say? Even the thing that was like, I think the things that are going to survive from this era, let's talk about comedy for a second, because comedy is also the thing that
she is a comedian.
Hilarious. You're hilarious. By the
thank
way.
you.
Hilarious.
We're talking comedy.
How funny Angelica is.
Y'all skits
Hello, you do stand up.
are great.
So.
I just ripped off your skit that I'm sure you did with Lisa when Lisa and I went on a hike, and I was like, we should do a skit where you're tall and I'm short, and I hand you a stick. I was like, this is just an Angelica Trae joke. Like, I'm like, I take the same thing because I feel like you guys.
It's funny. I think about it, we're all different forms of comedians.
Yes, like Angelica's funny, and we're and we're not,
and we're not. There you go.
I feel so complimented right now. This is
great. She's like playing.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! What? No way!
But
How do you walk with the strut?
Because the comedy thing, because like there was like this a few years. It was like between like 2002 and like 2008, where there was just like a bunch of like edgy, very E-Bombs World, Rotten.com type comedy on adult cartoons, because they realized they could get away with it as a cartoon. So then you go back and you rewatch it. Like there was some good one, like Metalocalypse. Like that was okay.
I loved Metalocalypse.
Do you know why? My theory is, what I was going to say a second ago was, I think Metalocalypse is going to stand the test of time. I watched the 40-Year-Old Virgin, the movie, Steve Carell movie, a couple, like maybe a year or two ago, and I was like,
about how inaccurate that is now.
Why?
Because hello, my bedroom looks just like Andy's.
Got it.
I am like a super cool girl. Okay,
that's true. You're definitely not a virgin.
I definitely don't have a puberty voice right now. There you go.
But like that movie was it's full of jokes that are horribly offensive. But I think the reason that stands a test of time or holds up, the same with like, I think the Austin Powers movies are mostly going to hold up, even though they're also full of a bunch of horrible shit.
Austin Powers is very much a parody.
It is, but it's also at its core, each one of those things, like they have heart. Like Metalocalypse have characters and some sort of whereas as opposed to, I think the first Ace Ventura movie does not hold up. No, the second one a little bit more, but like Ace Ventura is not a character that lends itself to like, oh, we're rooting for him in a way that, does that make sense? Yeah. He's such a character and it's so over the top.
That was just like, let's give Jim Carrey a thing.
For sure. Whereas I think the first Dumb and Dumber movie is also full of a bunch of offensive stuff, but it kind of holds up because they sort of play it where like they have heart. Like they mean well, and there's little moments where the characters can do little dramatic.
if you're just like a blatantly offensive thing just to be offensive, then it's like I'm not really into that.
I don't think The Hangover is going to hold up, but I think 40-Year-Old Virgin does.
But there's another side to it, because I think that a lot of that offensive comedy does do well because they established, hey, this character is despicable.
Correct. That's true.
Right.
That's true.
So that's how things like
Unless
It's Always Sunny.
Like most comedians
do well.
Yeah, It's Always Sunny is a great example.
Because drifting is like grifting to the right in comedy is like the big thing. Like if you're not successful, then you're like, okay, well then I'll start making fun of trans people. And that's where it's like. And then you get a whole audience of those people who still think Drawn Together is funny, like they never.
I gotta watch this now. I gotta.
Yeah, it's the same as Andrew Dice Clay. It's the same shit. It's that people were trying to push that in the 80s when it was just like, but you're unfunny. You don't really have anything to say, and you're being mean.
If you're just like punching down or being, I get that. And you're just being mean, and you're looking around like, haha, that was funny, right, guys?
You're the lunch money.
But if you're making fun of yourself,
correct? Which, like you said, It's Always Sunny is a great example.
Yeah,
I think Reno 911 gets away with it. Because they set up all those characters to be like, they're dumb. Yeah. Look at how inept these characters are. So now it's okay to laugh at them and with them and and so on.
Metalocalypse, they're just kind of like meathead kind of, so it's like you going to the food libraries, kind of thing.
But they're sincere.
It's Always Sunny has definitely grown up too, though. You watched early seasons.
Oh, you're probably right.
I mean,
what are they on, season 58 now? I haven't caught up. I need to. Yeah.
Charlie says the N-word in the first episode. Jesus. So I mean, like you watch that compared to now.
Christ.
It was pretty intense. They didn't even have Danny DeVito on yet, right?
No, not for like a couple episodes.
And now, and the show has like, it's still offensive, but now it's, what's funny, what's good about that writing is like Dee is like trying to be more woke.
The voice of reason.
But she still is dumb about it. She's like, he's like, why can't I say the R word? And she goes, I don't know. You just can't say it. And he's like, why? Give me a reason why. And she goes, I don't know. Just don't say it. And then she starts saying it. And it's like, that's funny because I actually know people like that in real life. Where like, I've been told that this isn't good, so I'm not going to do it type thing.
But they don't know why. They still don't have the empathy.
They still like, I don't know why, but I think it's.
They didn't grow empathy yet.
Yeah, they didn't grow up with Star Trek like Angelica did.
Oh, is this our transition now?
Yes.
Wow, that was a great transition.
Thank you. Star Trek made you a good person.
Yeah.
Star Trek made me a good person.
Yeah. It does have a lot of heart.
It's hard to. Okay, here's the thing. I was just saying
so today's episode is just kidding.
No, I was just saying that it's hard to be a fan of Star Trek and be a bad person. I'm sure it's possible, but like you have to really miss the point and have horrible media literacy. Like,
yes,
you know, like that's more of a statement on you as a
we're
person.
We're literally
overall.
living in a time 100%. Where people are like, Metal Gear Solid is not political. Like that. People, the internet is so dumb now.
Yeah, the media literacy is.
I feel stupid on Twitter now. Because of the amount of like, have you ever seen someone whose opinion's so dumb that it makes you feel dumb, and then you're like, I can't talk to this person because I feel like I have to. I feel like that's most of media literacy now.
It is.
Yeah. No, it's really intense.
I am curious to know because most people know Angelica as a streamer. Actually, I feel like now because you do so much sketch stuff, that has probably kind of. Would you say that that's probably more recognizable for you now?
Yeah, I definitely get more recognized off of my comedy cosplay characters.
That's right.
And some of my other comedy sketches, but I do a lot of stuff within a lot of stuff within like video games, gaming, cosplay.
You're
comedy.
really good at mixing in the nerdy stuff with your cosplay.
I have to do it, otherwise it's not fun.
Also, every time, so like now Megan 2 is getting promoted.
Megan 2.0.
And every time I see that fucking billboard, I think of you.
Yeah.
Because you have a face that's everyone's face. Yeah. And I have a comedian friend back in Seattle.
That's not true.
It's true. It's
She's just good at makeup and cosplay. She makes herself look like Zooey Deschanel. She makes herself look like Megan.
I definitely do tweak things, but like there's some truth to that. I did not expect.
I have a comedian from back in Seattle. Every time I post you, he goes, "There's the girls with that's the girl who has the everyone face."
Wow.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, like going back to
you're like Phil Hartman or Will Ferrell on SNL, who like they could play everybody.
I'm like Odo from Star Trek.
Odo from Star Trek.
It's because you have like the perfect proportions on your face. Yeah. Now I'm hitting on you.
Complimentary.
Wow. Yeah. What?
I know. What?
Okay.
Lisa, calm down.
Okay. It's just because you look so good. But I'm curious because one of the reasons why we started this podcast is because we want to feature obviously all of our friends that are in the entertainment space that are because you're known to be kind of in the dorky space.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of your cosplays like Zooey Deschanel and was it Philomena Crunk? Is that
Philomena
Crunk? I haven't seen it. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
She gets crunk though. She does get crunk.
Yeah.
You sound just like her.
I feel like because those are the things that a lot of people focus on now that they kind of take away from the fact that you do have very nerdy interests.
Yeah, they don't know that you're super nerdy.
Yeah,
and then you'll bust out with a Star Trek cosplay, and people will be like, "What?"
Yeah. I mean, I always make sure to mix it in, right? Because it's for me. I've always tried to approach content creation or whatever I do online with variety. I do not want to get bored. I do not want to shove myself in a little corner. But what I love about comedy is, I can always put stuff under that umbrella, and I can mix in cosplay, and I can mix in my nerdy interests. And honestly, I feel like characters like Philomena Crunk are, they're dorky. It's, it's like subverting, it's like satire, right? On history. You have to know history in order to find a lot of that stuff funny. Obviously, there's a surface level understanding of it.
You're going to really love British humor.
Yeah, that's true. Or just British accents. You just want to listen to those.
That character, that actress that plays Crunk just did a whole bit, and you use it in one of your things about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, exactly. No, it all comes together.
Yeah.
Everything can be nerdy and cosplay and comedy. It's like, I love it. It's a wonderful mix.
I'm curious to know because like I also Twitch stream, and I feel like one thing I struggle with is as a variety streamer, you're trying to find your audience. Like I will play all the Metal Gear Solid games. I'll build my Metal Gear Solid audience, and then I'll play something else, and then those people all go away.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to figure out like what is my like main audience. I'm curious to know like when you started streaming or what part of streaming, what was the big thing that you were doing that made people be like, that's Angelica. I love her content.
Oh, I yapped a lot.
You're quite a yapper.
The constant was me talking.
This is why we hang out so much, is that she's just the yap queen.
I'll yap, you yap, we yap. It's a great time. I just
Yo
like
yap. Aya yaps.
What I end up doing is I end up like talking a lot on stream, and then we get in a gameplay later, and so generally people will hang out, and they like to hang out for that
The
personality,
talking,
the talking, the conversation. I cover stuff like nerd news is what I call it, which is the latest news in the geek space as well. And we have those conversations, and then I'll switch into gameplay. And sometimes it's really fun because, people are coming in and they go, okay, let me stay for more of that personality that I was just chatting with.
The first thing I've ever saw of yours was the Blue's Clues.
The
clip.
Steve from the Steve
from Blue's Clues.
That was an accident.
Oh,
it was kind of an
As you
accident.
pulled out
I know. It seems so coordinated, but
wait, I thought
it
you
wasn't
did that
guaranteed.
recently. That's old.
That's old.
Yeah,
that's like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
she was just a baby.
I just saw that
a
clip
baby
on
5 years
TikTok.
ago, I'm
I just saw
five.
that clip on TikTok not too long ago. That's
Really?
crazy. Yeah.
So the Steve from Blue's Clues happened because I felt compelled to get a shirt off of the internet, and I was like, I want a polo shirt, and then I saw this one that was green striped, and I went, ooh, that's pulling in my eye, and then I got it. Like I bought it and it was delivered at my place, and I took one look at it and I realized, oh my God, I'm going to get compared to Steve from Blue's Clues. Like that's just the internet. Like someone's going to tell me that.
You would be so lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He's wonderful. Yeah. And I knew it was going to happen. So I already had, as a lifelong fan of Blue's Clues, I already had the mailbox and I had my handy dandy notebook, and I put it casually beside me on my desk because buying the shirt, accident.
Yeah.
I just
having the Steve stuff already had it.
Comedic timing.
Yes.
You know what my favorite video of yours is? If we're just complimenting you,
by all means.
My favorite one is the mosquito one. That shit is so funny. Where it just cuts to, it's like summertime and it just cuts to a mosquito, like just waiting to beat the shit out of Angelica. It was really, really funny. It's really great. It's really great.
Are you allergic to mosquitoes too?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh.
But you are?
Yeah, I get massive welts and they love me.
Ugh.
I think it's my blood type.
I think one thing I really like though is that I mean, there's a lot of people who try to do sketch stuff, especially in the nerdy space, and it doesn't hit as well.
Yeah.
Normally. Like I've always wanted to do more like From Software things today. And just today, if it even comes out, we filmed a reel that she wants to do of like Elden Ring stuff.
Great.
And she's never played Elden Ring.
Great.
I haven't.
But it's like,
Great.
but you know how Elden Ring fans are.
Yeah, because you won't shut up about it, Lisa. That's why.
That's why it's called Dork Souls.
I have a lot of
Dork
friends
rings.
that play,
Sure.
they play stuff like Elden Ring and the Souls, do we call it Souls-like or Soulsborne?
Souls-like.
Souls-likes. So I have a lot of friends that play those, and
We're all war veterans.
They're so chill, but they're always wearing a shirt with it on it. They've got all the trinkets in their
literally
home.
wearing a Bloodborne shirt
right
now as we're
That's so
speaking.
funny.
But legitimately, I was just with like another one of my friends this week, and he has all of the little trinkets at his house. Like all of his stuff is designed like that, and then you casually bring it up, and they'll just talk about it all day.
Yeah, they go into the lore.
They're not. Yeah, it's not like overbearing.
No.
But they love it, and it's
So
they love it to their
about it.
core.
It's like the Blue's Clues thing. She came in my room today to film this thing, and my background, my computer was Elden Ring with my Elden Ring.
You have your little figures.
Didn't
and
even
your
need to set
comics.
anything up.
It's the same thing with someone the other day asked me why I have Reagan tattooed on my hand from Mob Psycho, not the president. And I said, he asked, what is it about that character that you love? And I was like, honestly, not that much. I really love him, but what was is during a time in my life that was really hard, I got really attached to this anime and the fandom. And like I made friends because I went to Japan, and while I was in Japan was his birthday, his fictional birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I went there and I went to a cafe where they were celebrating his birthday, and I met friends there, and it was just so deeply connected to the fandom that I was like, oh, like this is the time in my life where I found healing through this.
Oh my gosh.
Tax invading fake psychic.
That's so deep.
Minors. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with like Elden Ring and like all the Souls things. I think it's because when you find a certain piece of media, like I always had this joke about how I don't get how people can just watch something and be like, that was good. And then not make it their whole personality.
And then not be obsessed with it. I know.
Yeah. There are shows like that where I'm like, it was really good. I can move on from it because they don't have that type of feel to it, or they don't really get to the niches specifically to me. And I feel like the Elden Ring Soulsborne fandom is like, here's a lot of people who love video games, and they found out that dying is actually really fun. but it's not fun.
No.
When I think the majority of my gameplay sounds so horrible.
You sound awful.
When I think of my majority of my gameplay in these games, I'm miserable. But I think it's because you have that idea in your head, this like, I can't let this computer beat me.
Yeah.
And then once you beat it, it's like very satisfying. It's almost like I just won the Olympics for the game. And because they are difficult, and I don't know if this is the same for you, it might be because you're a woman in the nerd space. Growing up, I was always having to prove my nerdiness.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was annoying.
And I think over time, when I started streaming like Hollow Knight and stuff, people were like, you should play these games even though they're really hard. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm going to prove that I can do the shit that you sweaty dudes can do.
Yeah.
And then I do it. And I'm like, I feel really good about myself. And then now these guys are like, oh, I'll never touch those games. I'm not a psycho like you are. And I was like, okay, so now I'm a psycho.
Oh, yeah. It's always weird too. Like once women go into a space, now it's, gets deemed.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Go on, get.
Okay, cool. Okay, I have this question for you because
I used to get questioned. I remember back in the day, like, elementary school, middle school or whatever, like you would get questioned on even playing games. It was like people just didn't.
Oh, it's like you like this
guys
band
didn't understand that you could hold a controller
with
with your feminine hands or something. It was so bizarre.
Yeah, they had this idea that male brains could just hold a controller and play games better.
Yeah,
I posted that Elden Ring joke, and like we talked about this on one of the episodes. Somebody commented, "Did you write this joke because you knew Elden Ring was trending?"
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it's like you are dancing around so much to try to prove that I can't do the same things you do.
Yeah.
Do you still get shit like that?
I think it's a lot better now because unfortunately I've had to like prove myself by posting all of these things that are more like deep cuts.
Yeah.
That I don't really get questioned a lot because it's just so much. It's like, you can't be faking it this long.
Yeah. You dress up like Philomena Kunk. That's not just like they're hopping on the trendy cosplay thing.
Or just me, I don't know, making a reference about for Star Trek or something.
Or your Last of Us one with the golf.
You did just name drop. You name dropped Odo, a character from Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Which is like, you got to know Star Trek to know. I mean, I know it's one of the main characters in Deep Space Nine, but like nobody's talking about Deep Space Nine anymore unless they're obviously clearly a Star Trek fan. So
I like remember Next Generations. That's about it.
Next Generations, exactly. That's all.
Next Generations amazing.
Yeah.
I grew up on Star Trek, and my dad would force us to watch all of them when we were kids.
Oh God,
he was like,
"How was that?"
Well, he made us watch all the movies, and I really like the movies.
The movies I think are better for kids.
Yeah, but when you're like 5 years old, I'm like, I don't want to watch all these people just stand around. There's no cartoons. There's no action. Really.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now there's
still
Star Trek
the movies
cartoons.
I think are better than the shows for kids.
And because of that, I always had like a negative feeling towards Star Trek.
Oh,
My sister
no.
rewatched it. I don't anymore.
Okay,
I'm in the space.
Okay.
I just haven't
The Final
rewatched.
Frontier.
I just haven't watched any Star Trek since I was a kid.
Okay.
So people would be like asking me.
You're not
about,
averse to it anymore.
But I did watch a documentary. I've watched a few documentaries on Star Trek about how they've done so many things. Like they had the first kiss between
why?
a
Where
white.
were you watching that stuff?
Oh, this is like YouTube shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She was looking up kissing.
Yeah, I was looking up kissing.
Like,
on
what are
that's
the hottest kisses?
That's how I knew about shipping.
What are the hottest kisses?
She was looking up
you did.
kisses.
Yeah, that's how I knew. That's how I knew about shipping.
Hottest kisses in TV history,
kisses.
and they went number one, William Shatner, but Nichelle Nichols, beautiful. Yeah, great.
That was what it was.
Like forced kiss that they had to do on the show.
It was really about Orville, and then I watched Seth MacFarlane's old Star Trek videos he made when he was like 17 years old.
What?
Have you seen those?
No, send
Have
it to
you
me.
seen those?
No,
That's so
I haven't.
funny.
There's like a couple home videos he made when he was a teenager where they're reenacting Star Trek, and it's young Seth MacFarlane as a teenager. And then from there it was like, here's a whole documentary about how Star Trek changed mainstream media and blah, blah, blah. And then it was like, so I've seen more information about Star Trek.
When do you think is a good age to go back a little bit? Because now I'm curious, because you said your parents forced it on you when you were little.
Forced it.
And I'm curious to know when you got into Star Trek, like what age?
I got in later.
Me too. I got in later.
Yeah, I like how you said that.
Yeah.
I'm scared because I'm like, producer Mark, when? Kid? What age? How old? Between 6 and 12. Okay. I'm getting mixed because I'm like, if I ever have a kid, I want to show Star Trek to them, but I do not want them to be like, Dad, this is boring. Do it in a little kid voice. Say, Dad, this is boring.
Dad, this is boring.
Yeah, see, I don't want that.
Dad, this is boring.
But also,
exactly. I don't want that. I'm going to go on my skateboard.
To be fair, during that time, it was also when we had Nintendo and Super Nintendo and N64.
I get it.
And it's like,
Lisa,
I don't want to watch Star Trek. I want to play video games.
Lisa, you're talking to me like there's not Star Trek games for the Super Nintendo. They were, and they were boring. So that's what I'm scared of. Right?
Yep.
I don't want to. Whereas, like, I think Star Wars is generally more kid friendly.
It's more accessible because, I mean, it's action in space.
It is. It is.
I mean, Star Wars is a space opera. And then obviously they've leaned a lot more into different little subgenres, right? We had the Lone Ranger characters, the Han Solos, the Mandalorian types that are very cowboy-esque. And so we've
Star Trek
seen
is more adult and cerebral.
We've seen that leaning towards space westerns, but it's still action based. But Star Trek, it's like this mix between it's holding up a mirror to society, but it's
kids aren't ready for that.
Yeah. But also, was that the first? Because I know you're a big sci-fi nerd to begin with. Was that what got you into sci-fi? Or were you already in sci-fi and you're like, fucking Star Trek, let's do it?
Oh my god. Well, this might sound real nerdy. I'm not sure actually, but
girl, we are only 30 minutes in. We just get into it.
I got into. I mean, I guess like it was a mix of things, but what really got me into science fiction was reading, I guess, dystopian stuff. They gave you a lot of those in school.
Hunger Games? Or even before that?
Even before that, like in school, you know, did you have those big literature books, like those big English books? Did they give you big textbooks in school?
No, we read like Lord of the Flies, which was traumatizing for
you. Didn't have like giant textbooks you had to carry around and lug around and they hurt your spine.
I had
like
history and English and stuff. Yep, I did.
And they didn't give you English ones?
I think they did. I can't remember.
And they had little short stories and
maybe.
All that in there?
So they had those in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they had, oh God, I might say it wrong, but it's a Sound Like Thunder.
Oh, for sure.
And by Ray Bradbury.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
that one was in there. And I remember reading that. And that was the original story around the butterfly effect.
Yep, that's right.
And then I remember in school reading a lot about dystopian stuff. And I think that dystopian stuff led to me getting into a subgenre known as cyberpunk.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because cyberpunk is very dystopian. It's near future. It's high tech, low life.
It's like Batman Beyond, Lisa,
Yeah.
which you
Blade Runner.
liked.
Listen, I know Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell.
And Ghost in the Shell's awesome. I love Standalone Complex, but like it, you know, Cyberpunk goes way back, you know, like Akira and all that too. It's amazing. And it had a lot of statements around that and it was very dystopian. And then I went, ooh, like what about more stuff? And then I started getting into more space
fuck
sci-fi.
Aliens? That was where
exactly. There you go. That's the natural just way that goes.
The only reason I want to play Mass Effect.
Yeah.
That is what Star
You
Trek
get it.
ultimately is about. That is what Star Trek's about.
Wait, so what was your first Star Trek?
My first Star Trek was The Next Generation.
Wow.
TNG. And I actually...
Which you were not watching as it was airing because you're not that old. You're young. So you caught it later. It was like on Netflix.
It was
and you started binging it?
What's it? Oh my
or
God,
or reruns on
I'm going to make someone mad. I got into Star Trek more as an adult. And so I'm the youngest of 6 kids. And I have a lot of older siblings. Like my oldest sibling is 21-year age difference. So a lot of them have like moved out, like had kids and all of that in, you know, their own places since I was a child. And so one Christmas I was staying at my sister's place and I was sleeping in the basement and I'm a night owl. I stay up late. And I was just like on her TV and she had, what's it called? Like the cable on demand thing.
Yeah. TiVo.
TiVo. Yeah. Where you're going through the little menu and there's just random stuff.
Yep.
And so I saw Star Trek was on and it was probably like 2, 3 in the morning. And I watched an episode and it was TNG and I went, wow, this is actually like really smart and interesting. And I want to check out more.
Not me. It was boring. And I want to look at,
well, I wasn't a kid.
Yeah.
I get it. Like a kid's not going to want to watch a whole story about like, I don't know, someone fighting diaspora. And like,
it's weird. Lisa, by the way, you're getting booed by producer Mark. He's booing you. Good. Look at the boo. But I mean, I'm curious too, because I also came into it and I love Star Trek. It's one of my loves. And I came into it in my 20s. And I'm like, I think I don't want to scare off a kid. But now I'm like, well, I think there just depends because there's different entry points for Star Trek. I don't know if I could show a kid Next Generation as an entry point.
You could show them original series.
Maybe because it's more colorful and fun and
Colorful,
it's a little
nostalgic,
right?
more
Let's be
action,
real,
more
I
fight.
was
Yeah.
kind of a weird kid to begin
For sure.
with.
I know. I'm taking that into
I
account.
don't doubt that.
But I'm like, maybe I'll show him the Chris Pine movie first because that's a
Yeah.
big action fun thing, and then kinda
I
go
would
from
I
there.
would show him original series probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That might be
Or
it.
the cartoons.
Yeah, I mean, Star Trek
Yeah.
Prodigy is a new cartoon that is for kids, and it's fantastic. And it's like that should really be the entry.
Yeah,
and it has a
there's
lot to do with.
options.
And then you show them Voyager after that because you're like,
Yeah.
if you like this show and Janeway's in it, check this out, and then you just start
Mhm.
showing them Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
It's so
That's the
There's
plan.
more options now.
Yeah, there is.
That's
There
nice.
is. There is.
My family is it's so funny. There's like different types of nerds. I'm the outcast of nerds in my family
Really?
because my
You're
dad.
the nerd of the nerds?
Yeah, I am because
Your
my dad.
dad's a
Wow.
Trekkie.
My sister's in the Battlestar Galactica and Star Trek.
Okay,
Oh.
nerdy.
Big
Good,
sci-fi
good, good.
Nerds. My
Your
dad,
mom's a gamer.
she plays Pac-Man.
That's gaming,
That
dude.
is like the most gamer.
I've seen her
And
at an arcade.
and she's really good at it. And only
my
that
God.
game. She's very
That's
powerful
awesome.
Pac-Man.
Has she
player.
beat Pac-Man?
all of them?
Amazing.
What?
All of the ones
Wow.
up until they got 3D.
What
Just-
about Miss Pac-Man? Like,
we?
how'd
I
she
used
feel?
to sit down and watch my mom beat the Pac-Man 2
yeah.
and Pac-Mania all the way up to level 99. She would just sit there. And
How do
fucking
you
Does she
win.
have
even-
like the joystick and everything?
That's
Or
crazy.
wow.
I have that reel of me plugging in. She's like losing her shit, and then my like 6-year-old niece like can't play, and she's like no, like and my mom's she's
That's
angry.
hilarious.
That's where I get the
That's
angry
so
gamer.
funny.
But I almost feel bad because like my sister got really into it because my dad was showing it, but she was also a little older. She's
Yeah.
3 years older than me, so at 10 years old, it's okay to watch that stuff. Me at
Yeah.
7, I'm like I just want to play video games and
Yeah.
build Legos, and so they got really into nerdy shit.
Mhm.
And then or nerdy sci-fi shit, and I have no sci-fi nerdiness in me whatsoever, except for now that I'm starting to get into sci-fi video games.
Okay.
Ah.
I dig
Yeah.
it.
And so
Okay.
for me, it's like I need to learn how to be the cool sci-fi nerd like you.
Well, here's the thing. When I was younger, I almost hate to say this, but I was into a lot more anime and like I almost
And then she grew up,
reversed.
Lisa. And then
Yes,
she
she-
grew
No.
up. Yeah.
I never
No,
did.
I have a hard time if the anime isn't science fiction.
Fiction.
now.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but
You're like Delicious in Dungeon. Get
it's-
out of here.
Here's the thing. I want to catch up on so many anime, but
Yeah.
every time you hear about an anime that's really good, it's like asking someone if I should play a Dark Souls game.
Mm.
It's oh yeah, you have to grind 1,000 episodes in order to understand this wacky
Yeah.
character.
Sure.
And I'm
Also,
to get the payoff.
a
Yeah.
lot
yeah.
of-
It's like watching a Marvel movie now. You're like, I have to do homework. I have to watch like 3 different
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
and a lot. Well,
I can't defend that.
I get
That's
the
true.
Marvel thing too because
I mean, I love Marvel stuff. I have
That's
to
okay.
I have to give someone a dissertation every time we're about to go to the theater. I have to be
Yeah.
like, okay, so this happened, and then this person they lost their memory, and we got to take them to here.
that's
you know?
literally why I got into anime though, because there's too
Really?
many Marvel movies. And I
There's
was
too
like,
many
I gotta watch
sweats.
something else, man.
Too many sweats.
But also, you have to realize it's the same thing with like any big game that's hyped. It's like I usually don't really care about games that just came out
yeah.
because I know they're being hyped and overhyped. And I don't want to spend the money on something that I'm not going to end up loving.
You care about
Yeah.
established
Yeah.
franchises that
Yeah.
have stood the test of time.
So I think like
Yeah.
anime, it's like right now everyone's like, what's the next big fucking
Yeah.
shonen with lasers and blah blah?
Yeah.
Are they going to be talking about it in a year? Like that's going to be my thing.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I feel like
So then you should be into Marvel because it's been an established, tired and
Yeah.
true.
listen, man, I get
If
it.
you're looking for the anime that does have 1,000 episodes, because you're like, that's reliable. I got 1,000 episodes for you.
Yeah.
It's all of Marvel.
I think if you watch all the Marvel movies, it's 1,000 episodes of One Piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily, right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
the
that's
running
fair.
time.
But also now being a nerd is like a cool thing because now all the video games are being added.
Sorry, your voice. You sound like Tails from Sonic and Tails. That's what it is. But
Again,
also,
you should have heard it 3 days ago. I literally sound like a goose.
You could
honking,
yodel.
like
for sure,
out
I
of my
think.
like almost like huh. Every time I
Aw.
honk,
Can you
I sound
say-
like a
can you
goose.
say-
You sound
you say-
exactly like a goose.
can you say being Sonic's best friend is stressful?
Yes, huh? That's right.
No, say it
stressful.
real. Say it like you're normal.
Who?
Like being Sonic's best friend is stressful.
Being
like your Tails.
Sonic's best friend is stressful.
That's a little bit. You see right at the tail end?
Yeah,
The
I hear
tails
it.
end of
Yeah,
that?
tails end.
yeah.
You sound like Tails.
Disgusting. Anyways, well now because all the I freaking forgot what we're talking about because you made my voice so much.
Good.
Sorry, anime and
Yeah.
there's
all
a barrier for entry
Yeah.
nowadays.
everything now.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
can-
want to know though? I am curious about something if I can ask our guest. I wanted to know because you're talking about
Yes.
this type of games you stream and the type of stuff you stream.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite video game of all time?
Ooh.
Because I know Lisa's answer and I'm curious about what yours would be. Because you do this as part of your Twitch streaming. You game.
Yeah.
But like, do you have one that you're like, I would say this is my favorite?
Oh man. I feel like this is this answer is it might change, but a lot of it is about the experience. A lot of it is about I mean, there's
it's
a
like
couple
Lisa
games
just described with Mob Psycho 100. It's like it's the thing that happened to your life, right?
So here's the thing. A lot of my favorite games end up being games I'm playing against my will. It almost feels like.
Oh no.
Super
Do you know
Mario
what
Sunshine.
I'm talking about?
No, literally. Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, like there's legitimately the barrier for entry.
Yeah.
This is gonna
Is
sound
it like your community sort of votes for
they'll
like
vote
dares
for the
you
game
to play the game? Yeah.
And it might have a slower start, or it might have some mechanics that are
and
a
it
little
becomes your favorite
confusing.
though?
Yeah.
The experience.
Yeah. I swear, it's like games like Subnautica gave, what was it? Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. I was lost. I didn't even know I had to repair the pod that you land in the beginning of the game. Like you're supposed to be repairing stuff. You're supposed to be gathering resources.
And your community's like teasing you and laughing at you. They're not helping you.
And I'm just swimming around eating fish in the water for like a week straight. And then I realized that, I'm supposed to be building stuff, unlocking new recipes and like building new things. And then I got to the end of the game. And I was sad.
Yeah.
I was sad.
Over.
I didn't want to leave. Fish.
No, I didn't want to leave. I was like, I feel like I was being held hostage by the game. I got attached to it at that point.
Oh, that's
it's like the Stockholm syndrome.
Okay, got it.
But
you were like Belle in Beauty and the Beast. You're like, I think I love this game.
I think they love him and singing teacups.
Lisa, you've had that. You've played a game where you're like, I hate this, and then you got through it and you're like, this is amazing.
Literally all the Souls games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you have to suffer in order to find your favorite game.
The box delivery game you were just playing that you're
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. You're complaining to me. You're like, the game is awful, but I love it.
Yeah,
it's weird
it's
and
Kojima.
Yeah.
I think Kojima is like that, where it's like no one who plays a Kojima game is like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. You can't. That's a requirement is that you don't understand what's happening.
I think it's
For
like
sure.
I think I just like.
Wow.
I think my big thing with like games and stuff is like I love people who just don't give a fuck when they're making something. Like
they're artists.
Yeah, they're going against, because there is like with anime and all this shit, the same cookie cutter bullshit.
Sure.
Because they know this is what will sell.
Sure.
If I have enough lasers and Dragon Ball Z shit, people will be like, oh, action, mindless fun, you know?
Yeah.
Video games too. Yeah.
But yeah, with like Kojima, you're like, there's no one who really does what Kojima does. So whatever I play, I'm going to hate it, but I'm also going to appreciate him for making it.
It's unique. Did you play this game Subnautica?
No, I've heard of it though.
Okay.
Is
it like a scary?
If you have what's called thalassophobia.
I don't know what it is, but I have it.
I have that. It's a fear of open
things.
Water.
100%. 100%.
Well, and you like Star Trek and like space stuff?
Yeah.
That's literally the same concept.
No, I think it's different.
No.
But no, they're seafaring basically in space. Yeah. That's why there's so many ties to like ships.
Even Mark's like,
spaceships.
No,
open space.
I'm wrong. I'm in the wrong. No, let me tell you why.
You're telling me the same
let me tell you why.
Vibe of floating in the water
100%.
isn't the same as floating through space?
You've seen the Sandra Bullock movie Gravity? You've seen Gravity?
Yes.
You've seen Gravity? Everybody's seen Gravity?
Yes.
Terrifying, right?
Yeah.
But let me tell you this. There's a part of my brain, because this has come up, right? The hypothetical of if you had an invite. Boo. Hang on. Don't boo me, producer Mark.
Boo.
Hang on. If you had an invite, I mean, maybe not now with SpaceX or Jeff Bezos or these assholes, but like 10 years ago,
Katy
15
Perry
years ago.
and her flowers.
Boo. But if you had an invite to be like, would you go on a space mission to the moon or to Mars or beyond? But, right, think about that. Like, would you go on one of these early excursions out into space or deep space, but there's a 50% chance you will die and you won't come back? And for the longest time, because I think I romanticize space so much and the idea of like humans exploring planets beyond our own planet, that for the longest time I was like, I think I would take that risk. And I wouldn't be mad if I died, because I'd be like, well, this is the most noble pursuit of all time. If I was in the fucking ocean and if I was in the fucking, with that submarine with those millionaires and my shit imploded.
My God.
The half a second as it's imploding, I'd be like, what was I doing down here? I'm so mad at myself. I shouldn't have been here.
I went deep sea.
Okay,
no,
would
but
you
for
go
space, I'd be like, I'm in space. This is what I wanted. And I would see
you go on
the
a
stars.
spaceship operated by a Logitech controller
No,
or whatever it was?
Not. I'd only go with the Federation, the USS Enterprise.
That's the difference.
I know, it is a difference.
Yeah.
But I don't have but I also truly do have a fear of like a giant sea creature. that I don't have if I'm in just open space.
I
I'm like,
would
there's no
argue
space whales. I'm
dying
fine.
by getting swallowed by the Kraken or something, I think is cooler than like your ship exploding in space.
Imploding and then you freeze and die. Like, no way.
Mine is more.
The Kraken's way cooler than just being like, all right, oops, the O-ring got messed up.
I know absolutely nothing about this phobia, but here's the thing. I have claustrophobia.
Oh.
Okay. That's like the opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing though. I went scuba diving and scuba diving made me feel claustrophobic.
100%.
And just having,
be
having the pressure of the water around me made me feel like I was closed in a tight space.
And you just hear.
Yeah. Nope. I hated it. Hated all of it. Also couldn't get my ears to pop.
I mean, I don't like the idea of that, but I didn't
What's
get that.
Producer Mark, what is that? You were a scuba diver for 30 years?
Oh my God.
Shut up, Producer Mark.
Yeah, I went for 30 minutes, okay?
Yeah, it's the worst.
It's the worst thing ever.
Sorry, you were saying, Angelica, you were saying?
Oh, well, here's, at least going back to Subnautica, I've never scuba doved. I've never done that.
Actually, the past tense is duved. You've never scuba duved. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
She's never scuba dubed.
Isn't that like a blanket on a bed or
it's
whatever?
Scooby Dooby duved. You've never done that.
She's never Scooby Dooby.
Never Scooby Dooby duved. The idea of the bubbles under the skin thing freaks me out. I won't do it.
Wait, I'm sorry, Mark. What is this? You have a microphone.
What's bubbles under the skin?
The bends.
The bends.
Yeah.
What are the bends?
I don't like that.
Wait, what is
I don't
that?
like that.
The pressure. You can't go.
like it.
Humans are not meant to go down there.
So you get bubbles in your skin?
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Fast. Yes.
You hear all that? You
You gotta come up slow.
All the air.
You gotta come up slow.
Yeah, somebody shoot me in the water.
I mean, yeah.
The bullet will go very fast.
Also, like the other thing that's awesome and cool but terrifying is that humans have theorized and then discovered we think there's creatures down there that we don't, fish in different species that we haven't seen yet. Oh, we theorize that they're real because like a body of a giant squid washed up on a beach somewhere.
Wait,
and
is
it's
that
like,
what Subnautica's about? Is
there's big animals down there.
I don't want to spoil it. It
There's
is
big
sci-fi.
animals
It
down
is
there.
sci-fi.
I'm not going down there. Have you ever seen the movie from James Cameron, The Abyss? You ever seen it?
No, I'm terrified.
Terrifying.
It's the same.
But cool.
It's
terrifying.
It's
but cool.
okay, but here's the thing. It is sci-fi, and do you know Subnautica?
No, but I think I know a little bit of it because I've seen
there's a level in Returnal.
I've seen clips of people playing it and stuff, and like
You're in space.
Yeah, that's awesome. Spoiler. That's great.
Yeah, you're in space.
But you're in an ocean.
An
but
ocean
you're in space. That's cool.
Yeah,
it's like you're in the oceans of Pandora, like that kind of thing. So new species.
There's a lot of video games that are taking place in outer space, and there's a body of water, or they're on a planet with water.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, because that's the most like cool, mysterious thing ever. I mean, take like was it Solaris, like that old like Soviet Russia? I think it was a book originally, actually, but like it's like an old sci-fi movie about a sentient ocean, like.
Cool.
We've seen tons of science fiction movies around stuff like Europa, and it's like, isn't that the one that's covered? It's the moon that's covered in water, right?
I think so. One of what is it? What's Titan? Isn't that one of Jupiter's moons? I can't remember.
That was Saturn.
We need
Saturn's
Bill Nye the
moons?
Science
I thought
Guy.
Europa's one of
We need the
Jupiter's.
Speedwalker
We need
here.
Bill Nye, the science guy, originally from Seattle.
Oh my god!
To tell us about how likely it is that
if
something
you ever
in our
have Bill
solar
Nye as
system.
guest, I need to also be here for that.
Okay.
I mean, he's not from
You're
Seattle.
a big fan?
He just started his career in
Huge.
Seattle.
All
Okay,
right, that's fine.
Huge
he's
fan.
Canadian.
That
Anyway,
guy taught me
I'd
about
much-
rocks.
I'd much rather die in space, and I wouldn't be mad at myself.
What
But
about
if-
an ocean in space?
I would. Well, that's different. I think I would be okay with it. I think I'd be like, well, I came here. I'm on another planet. How cool! The creature
That's
got
what
me.
I'm saying. So
If
maybe.
over the weekend, I was in Atlanta, and we went. Me and
I'm gonna say Atlantis.
Atlantis.
Yeah, I
was
know,
in
right? I was like,
Atlantis.
water.
I was in Talocan. No, I was in Atlantis, and we went on a Ferris wheel, and I have a fear of heights, and my
too.
girlfriend Abby was like,
But you
want to
go to space?
Yeah, of course I do. I would rather die in space
Oh, brother.
than on. Here's the thing.
You don't see the impact of death from that perception. I know because I have fear of heights.
Do you see that
Yeah.
the video? The guy
Yeah.
is jumping down from. I think it was not the space
What, the new
station,
Mission
but
Impossible movie?
No, the space the astronaut. I forget their name.
I'm
but
never-
they were jumping down.
I'm never
to Earth.
skydiving
I've skydived.
Okay.
It's
But
fun.
that
You
was
have.
space. They were spacefaring.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I went on a Ferris wheel,
Mhm.
and just being in that little thing on a Ferris wheel, and in my fear of heights, and it's like slowly rocking. Like even the one at Disneyland, I'm like, I can't even do that. I did that
Yeah.
once, but But my girlfriend convinced me to come up, and I did. And I was really feeling it, but like a real tingle in my body and the sensation, and I hated it and had to distract myself, and it was fine. But my thought always just goes to, if something goes wrong here and this thing snaps and falls and then we fall and then we die, the thing I'm going to be thinking is, why in the hell did I get into this Ferris? There's no reason. There's no reason to be in this Ferris wheel. I'm so mad at myself.
My
there's no reason. There's no reason to jump out of a plane.
Reason to be
there's
in the
no
ocean?
If I had a reason to be in the ocean, I have no reason to be in the ocean.
What if
I can tell you right now, Angelica, I have no reason to be in the ocean.
My fear of heights.
Hector, we have a bunch of comic books on the ocean floor. We need you to go down there and get them.
My fear of heights is I want to kill myself. There's like an original copy. That is my fear of heights.
Superman down there.
What's your fear of heights?
My fear of heights is revolved around the fact that I really want to jump.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you have the intrusive thoughts?
Yeah, the intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, I don't have that fear. Yeah. I don't have that.
I truly believe some people have committed suicide out of intrusive thought more than
you guys are more emotionally intelligent than me. I just clench my butt whenever I'm looking, like I just, my whole body tenses.
So you also have a fear of, we all have a fear of heights for different reasons?
I don't know what mine is. I just know that like my entire body tenses
Every time
up.
she
my
looks at me, she's
clenches.
like terrified because I'm so tall.
But to answer your question, I guess the only thing I allow myself is like, I'll go on roller coasters and really only, I really only do Disneyland. I remember when I was like 13, 14, I went to like Six Flags and stuff around here in LA and like Southern California or whatever. And even Six Flags is like basically every other theme park other than Disneyland with the way that they really, you know, modify everything and make everything super safe. Everything's really for babies. Every other roller coaster is like pretty janky that I've ridden enough of them that I'm like, you know what? If I die in a roller coaster, I'm also going to be pissed at myself. I really need to stop going. I'm never going to go on Colossus again. I'm never going to go on, you know.
You're saying your issue is not with like underwater thalassophobia. It's with the like how your death could be trivialized.
Yes. Okay. Yes, that how mad I would be.
That is the nerdiest thing ever, by the way.
I'm trivializing it. I'm like, what? Like, I
there's going to be a Reddit post about me.
You don't want like a final destination, just something like, oh, a screw comes loose and, you know, and something like
and it's
that,
just, again, if I ever went skydiving, and I know so many people in my life that have, like my girlfriend went skydiving. It's supposed to be an amazing experience. I'm sure it is. But even if you go with like, you know, the first time you have the person attached to you and it's like safer. But I'm like, even if the scenario, like imagine the scenario, I know it's like 1 in a million or whatever the likelihood is, but you jump out even with tandem and they pull the first one and it doesn't go. And then you pull your back up and it doesn't go. And then you're just falling and you're like, why did I come up here?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of. Is like, I'm so mad at myself.
I can relate to this because my worst fear is a very trivialized
What is it?
Death. I choke on a hard-boiled egg. That's actually like my biggest fear. And I love hard-boiled eggs. It's a problem.
And I scarf them down. I swallow them like a snake. I gotta stop. I gotta stop.
Does it make you feel stronger when you eat a hard-boiled egg? Because you're like, I didn't die.
I do, but I have a fear of like, I don't know why.
Chew your food, Angelica. That's the easy one.
That would be a terrible way to die.
I have a fear of
that's
shitting
like
my pants on
fear.
stage, so sometimes I take a laxative before I go up there just to know what it feels like, you know?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
You know what's actually very funny about that?
You're kind of brave for that.
You don't have a fear of bombing. Because I think you're a great comedian, and I feel like people that get comfortable on stage, right? Like you've bombed before, it's no big deal. Once you get over that initial fear of like, what if I bomb and they don't laugh? It's not the end of the world. You're fine, which is a great way to help people get over fears.
Yeah.
You have a fear of shitting your pants, which could happen and could be humiliating. That's hilarious.
Yeah, which, you know, I think that's a thing. Everyone in their 30s, a lot of people I know in their 30s have already done it. I'm just waiting for my day.
Really? Who do you know that shit their pants? Name names.
Maybe when they're babies. A lot of male comedians in their jokes, I should say.
Oh,
I love everyone from Subnautica to people who've shit their pants. I love podcasts. Don't we?
Subnautica makes a lot of people real scared.
I can't do spooky games.
Really? I love horror games.
I loved Dead Space.
Yeah,
the remake.
Is that a spooky? That's
horror.
A spooky game.
That's horror and it's sci-fi.
Yeah, technically, Bloodborne is a horror game.
Yeah.
But Alien Isolation, fuck that. I did 3 hours of that and I was like, never
really?
That was a great game.
I did an Alien VR experience.
Oh my God.
It was pretty spooky.
That would make me shit my pants.
Yeah. It was cool.
But like it's the first person and knowing that like the thing is more powerful than you and you have to outsmart it. And I don't trust my brain.
You got to get the flamethrower. You got to get the flamethrower.
That's the thing. I don't think I'm smart enough to. I think that my fear is being called out for being stupid. But also just I don't like hearing sounds and not knowing where they're from. That's why Bloodborne scared me.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like being like, what was that? What was that sound?
Yeah,
you know. That's the thing that scares me.
Well, okay, so I remember Alien Isolation specifically freaked me out. What kept me going in that game was
The
if you just you just keep moving.
Oh, it's like a Mario game. If you just hit it at full speed, you can kind of clear it first go.
Yeah, like just keep your head down and keep moving because the xenomorphs, they'll track you through the vents in that game.
Yeah, they'll find out where you died and how you tried to get there, and they'll figure out your path.
And the average Joes were awesome too, but oh my god, there's
the average
androids.
Joes.
Yeah, weren't they called average Joes? Right, with the androids, right?
I don't know.
Are you thinking of the Ben Stiller movie Dodgeball, a true underdog story?
No.
Average
In
Joe's
Alien
Gym?
Isolation, I believe they were called that. I played this a few years ago. I should probably replay
Is there
it.
androids in the game?
Yeah, there's androids.
And they were called average Joes?
I believe they were called average Joes.
Probably.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But for me, I played one stream of it. I was like, I'm when they're like, oh yeah, I'll figure out your pattern and what you're scared of. Like if you're hiding a locker too much, you'll try to look at the lockers first. I'm like, I'm never playing this game again.
The computer gets smart about that? Cool.
My biggest fear is AI getting smarter than me.
Yeah.
And so I don't want that to happen.
No, I'm too smart.
AI's goofy, dude.
It is too
They don't know
goofy.
shit, dude. You know how many times I look stuff up in the AI search results? I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's not
right.
It's goofy. They're
But
dumb.
no, it's just like having a thing where I can't hear it and it can outsmart me. That's the thing where I'm like,
you play with headphones and stuff, so there's little like surround
Oh
sound.
no,
like
I don't. Again, I'm
5.1.
trying to avoid shitting my pants.
What about a lot of classic horror games, stuff like Resident Evil.
But those are campy. That's why I like them.
Oh no, they're not, Lisa. Back in the day, they were spooky.
Resident Evil 4.
Yeah,
it's spooky stuff.
And here's the thing: they do a lot of puzzles while you're getting chased too, which I think is
so you do like horror games.
Real quick, I did play Silent Hill 2 and Resident Evil 4 for the first time last year.
The spooky
They were
classics.
funny as fuck.
I know.
They're fucking
4 is a different vibe though.
Yeah.
Until you get into the facility, right? Then it gets really.
But
spooky.
even Silent Hill 2 was goofy as shit.
Lisa, you're like an adult. I think I'm thinking of it like when those games first
Silent
came
Hill's
out.
Scary. What do you mean?
Yeah,
Silent Hill 2?
Yeah.
So funny.
Well, you're an adult.
Do you play the like remastered one that they did?
The one that I had to emulate it.
So it was like on PS1.
It was the original one that they just
play the updated graphics
too spooky.
one.
Oh, you're talking about the remake.
Yeah.
Okay, see, that's the thing.
Okay,
I
Lisa,
also,
with polygonal graphics, it looks silly, sure. But
no, it's the voice acting. Like I played the Resident Evil 4 remake, and they got rid of that goofy campiness that went with it. Like Leon being like, I could go for a steak right now. And
you mean
tossing his
the
hair?
campiness meaning the bad voice acting?
Well, like Leon, he's just like a hot dude.
The charming, sure.
And the thing is, the original Silent Hill 2, like James, the voice acting is goofy, but also it's just so ridiculously over the top.
I know, but Lisa, hang on. To try to defend those games for a second, I remember 1998, 1999, 2000, when those things were coming out, and I was like 13 or whatever. Scary as shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't play them.
Yeah, see, now you're an adult. You're like, this is ridiculous.
But even now, as an adult, I still won't play other horror games. I think there's a thing at
Some
knowing
of them are
that
scary, man.
When you played Silent Hill 2 for the first time as an 13-year-old, it says play this with all the lights off. Like I remember it said that, and I was like, fuck this game.
Yeah.
But you didn't know at the time. Like you go back and you replay any old PS1 game or N64, you're like, these are so dumb and goofy.
I know.
And then
it's the graphics. I mean, it's
all
with
of
immersion, right?
Yeah.
It's
and so now any new horror game, I'm like, you've figured out what makes people scared.
You're too good.
And I don't need that.
Okay, fair. That's
if I read a manual that says like play this on an empty stomach so you don't shit your pants, I'm never playing it. Like that's
okay.
That's so edgelordy. That's so funny.
That's literally what it's.
You're gonna want to play this. Make sure your mom's not in the room.
That's literally what the Silent Hill.
Okay.
I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but it said that in the.
Play this with the lights.
You have to play with the lights on full volume. I was like, I'm
cool.
good. I'm good.
I kind of like the rush of getting scared. Usually for me, it's when I'm not scared anymore. It's like, is this cool?
Really? You like being scared? Can I interest you in this hard-boiled egg?
Oh my God.
No.
Honestly,
Angelica, no. Chew it.
I've learned so much about you today.
Yeah.
Do you eat hard-boiled eggs and make yourself stronger now?
I love hard-boiled eggs. I have
and
a
she's
fear.
like, one day I'm going to die eating
Bro,
this.
she's like
dying
Rocky
by
every
choking
morning.
on one, but I keep just exposing myself to
eggs every morning.
No, I legitimately, you get like a hard-boiled egg right now sounds like a delicacy.
Let's go. Let's get one.
Great.
Let's get one on the way back.
Okay, heck yeah.
Yeah, on the way back. Let's just kill
yeah.
Angelica.
Yeah.
We'll eat a hard-boiled egg at the top of the building.
Just
and then
don't let me
jump into the
swallow
ocean.
it whole. Give me pieces.
I feel like that's also an intrusive thought thing because you're like, I just kind of want to see if I can choke on it.
Don't
you
ever
know?
do that. Don't ever do that.
No, I
Talk about a trivial death. That
Yeah.
I would be like,
That's what I'm
sad
saying.
news
That's
coming
my
out of
fear. That's
coming
why.
out of the streamer world
That's
today.
how I know
Angelica
some
Trae
people don't have mental
Choked on
illness,
an
but
egg.
I have
unhinged her
it.
jaw like a cobra and
And then they're gonna call me AyyTrae.
was
that.
found in her
There's
kitchen this
there's not
morning.
gonna be any respect
I
on the
do love
internet. It's gonna be
how
AyyTrae.
we transitioned to fears because that is something that I don't think I've ever talked about out loud is my fears.
Oh yeah.
Because most people's fears are like public speaking and shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that I'm not
I don't
scared
have
of.
that.
Yeah.
But it's
I never
like
told you guys my deepest fear.
sharks.
Do you want to share it or is that
Spiders.
like confidential?
I don't know. Should I? Should I share
I
it?
think you should.
It's actually not funny and it's weird and it's rooted in real world, which is my deepest fear is being lost somewhere in the South United States in a car that breaks down. My biggest fear is basically being in a sundown town that I don't know where I am.
Why?
And
Because
That's my
that's
biggest
it?
fear.
ice
Just
will come
lost?
after
Yeah,
you. Is that
basically. No, because they'll just be like, "What you doing here?" I'll just hear that and I'll be like, "I don't want to."
Oh.
That's my biggest fear. Hey, you need some. Where are you? Whereabouts are you from?
I
That's
do
my
love
biggest
that
fear.
Did you
is a
watch
fear.
like Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Yes,
as a
I
kid
did.
or something?
I
Yes, I
also
did.
feel like that's
Okay.
a fear that only non-white people can have.
Kinda, yeah, a little
Non-white
bit,
men.
a
I
little
was
bit.
about to say, I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, as a woman, I
As
don't
a
think
That's
I
true.
want that.
That's
As a
true.
woman, I'm scared to walk at night.
Similar
so,
but different.
Yeah.
That same guy would to you would be like, "Hey, y'all, Missy, what you doing here?" For me, it's like, "What you doing here?" It's
Yeah.
a different thing.
I do have-
But there is a next level of fear. If I heard darling or something, I'd be
Darlin'?
like,
yeah, I gotta
Okay.
get the hell out of
who's
here.
darling?
Please, please.
Okay, I have to tell you
I'm not
guys
darling.
my weird fear because this is very, very specific. I just talked about this recently. So, do you guys ever remember your dreams?
Sometimes, yeah.
So I-
Unfortunately,
do you ever have
the
a-
crazy ones?
Do you ever have a dream where you could, where you,
Are you
where you
kidding?
could?
Do you ever?
Do I sound like
You
him
do
right now?
anything? Yeah, you do.
You would.
So I had a reoccurring dream. This is so fucked up. I had a reoccurring dream when I was a little kid.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen a monkey puzzle tree?
No.
So they're
Is it the hanging?
yeah, they have the
ones?
really weird branches.
Wait,
that are
wait,
spiky.
Oh,
wait.
yes.
Are you talking about the game Barrel of Monkeys?
No, okay, yeah, I accidentally originally was thinking of the game of the Barrel of Monkeys,
But listen, you're talking about a real thing in
real
nature.
I
tree.
did recently go to, I think it's called not Oracle. Oh my God, there's a park in San Francisco, and I
Oh,
actually
cool.
was just live streaming IRL there, and I saw a monkey puzzle tree.
Monkey puzzle.
So
tree?
now I know monkey
What
puzzle
is it?
tree.
Or they're called monkey tail trees.
It's a
very-
tree.
They're kind of
Tail
creepy
trees.
looking.
Oh.
They have very long leaves with like pines coming out of them.
Oh, okay.
I had a
And it's just-
and we
Okay,
had one.
okay.
It's a puzzle for monkeys.
We
Gotcha.
had one in our yard, not in our yard, but in our neighborhood.
Spooky.
And every time I
Yeah.
went by it, I thought it was spooky, and I was like, "Ugh, that's a weird looking tree."
Yep.
And then I had 3 dreams I still remember from when I was like 8 to 11, where
Yeah.
it'd come into my house and kill me. The tree would. Like the branches would come through my window,
Get
you.
poltergeist style, and they would kill me. And now every time I know exactly where they're located in Washington, every time I know when one's coming up, I will purposely
Ooh.
not drive by it.
Oh my
Or if I drive by one, I will literally just get goosebumps and not even react. So
you
I
should
have,
go
like,
cuss them out.
I
Yeah.
have
You should go cuss the trees
I've literally had a friend drive me to one of the trees and had me touch one. And was like,
Oh.
"See, it's not
No,
bad."
I'd
And you
get you
almost
an
threw up.
axe. I would get you an
Yeah.
axe. Oh no.
Yeah.
I feel
and-
vulnerable because I feel like my fear was the only one that's legit. I feel like that's the only one that could actually happen.
Why is it?
You're not going to choke on an egg. A tree's not going to kill
I,
you.
mine is
But
most
I
likely to
could-
happen.
no,
you know how many
I
eggs
could-
I eat?
I travel
we
a lot.
Do you know how many
Women,
eggs
we-
I eat?
Can you run at night? Yes, you can. We
I can.
can't. So
I
we
can.
Can you run from a monkey puzzle tree?
Yeah,
though?
no.
Yes, you can.
I'm scared of running out of gas on a freeway because a man
Yeah.
will come steal me or
I get it.
something.
I
Yeah,
get
I
so-
eat a hard-boiled
I get
egg.
it.
A
No,
lot,
I get it. A
like,
man's
very
a man's
often.
fear is like a man's fear is like being humiliated by a woman. A woman's fear is like being killed by a man. I get
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
a completely
yeah.
different thing.
But
But
it's
a
my fear
hard-boiled
was
egg.
like I'm scared of getting killed by a racist white person in the southern United States. And your guys' fear was like a tree. It's gonna get
an
me.
egg.
It will not. You're safe.
I-
You're safe. You're not gonna choke on an egg. I promise. I
somebody
promise.
Don't know.
Someone told
One
me,
bad bout of
someone
dry
I know
mouth
who
and an egg.
analyzes their dreams was like, "You need to talk to your therapist about that." And I did. My therapist was like, "Huh." Well, anyways, I was like, "What? There's nothing to this." He goes,
Anyway,
"I don't
our
know."
time's up.
Yeah, right. There you go.
$60.
Anyways, yeah, there you go. But speaking of time, I was gonna say, since this will come out in a couple weeks,
Yeah.
do you have anything you want to plug or any
In
sort
a
of-
couple weeks, well, I'll be making content. I'm always making content.
Everybody follow Angelica and her
Yes.
wonderful content.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to end the episode abruptly because you're a
Oh my God,
wonderful
you're good.
guest.
Yeah, this was
Yeah,
really
We
fun.
talked about
Thanks
Star
for having
Trek.
me.
We talked about our weird fear about eggs.
Yeah, you know, I know that coming into this, maybe we're going to talk about, dorky stuff, Dork Souls Podcast.
This is pretty dorky. Okay.
But I think we really covered everything, honestly.
Yeah.
I think
we
got to the depths of each other's souls, our fears.
Our dork souls.
From the ocean floor to outer space. We got everything.
Our dork souls, man. Well, thank you. AyyTrae, hashtag Angelica, hashtag aka AyyTrae. I don't know all your nicknames.
I'm a hashtag now.
She's a hashtag AyyTrae. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
You sound like a goose.
Honk.